Section 2, we're looking at solving polynomial equations by factoring. And so here what we want to do is factor just like we got done in the last 3 examples. Here we have 4 terms, so we want to do it by grouping. So we notice that these both have 4's in them, so we might put those two together. They also have x squared, so I could probably factor out a 4x squared out of both of them. And these other two look like they have 9's in common, right? So here I can put those two together. So I can factor out a 9 out of both of those two, so I get left with an x. I get left with an x plus 3, right? So that means this one I should get left with when I factor an x plus 3. So you can ask yourself, okay, what times x gets me a 4x cubed? Oh, that'd be a 4x squared, right? And we can check that, multiplied in. 4x squared times x is a 4x cubed. 4x squared times 3 is a 12x squared. Now, since both of those are the same, we can factor out the x plus 3, and what's left when those get factored out is a 4x squared minus 9. Now that is multiplication, and this was set equal to 0, that means the factors of this are set equal to 0. So I can take each one of those factors, set them equal to 0 using the 0 product property, and then go ahead and solve for x. So I know x equals -3. When I take this one, I can do 2 different things. And when I set this one equal to 0, I might look to factor this, and so I can see that's a perfect square, and x is a perfect square, and 9 is a perfect square. So it probably factors to 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. But we can see we could also solve this by just adding 9 to both sides. And then I can divide by 4, and so I get x squared equals 9/4. And then I can square root both sides. So the square root of the top would be 3. Square root of the bottom would be 2, but since it's square root, it's plus or minus. So we can say there's my answer, plus or minus 3 and -3, or plus or minus 3 halves and -3. Or we can factor it and then set each of these factors equal to 0. Again, we'd be adding 3, and oh, that should be plus. Plus and minus makes the negative, right? So add 3 to both sides, and then divide by 2. So that's where we get the x equals positive 3/2. And then here we would subtract 3, divide by 2. And so that's where we get the -3 halves, positive 3 halves, and -3. So all those are our solutions, and we can see that that's what we get because we have a degree of 3.